And we are live today. This is Toni Weel from beautiful Florida, and we have Gary Parent with us again. I don't even know where Gary is now, but he will tell us later. And Sara, unfortunately, could not be with us today because they really needed some very quality time with her husband. And enjoy it, Sara. I know you will be listening to it later, but it is those times are very important in our lives. Much love to you, and we will have you on next week again. When I saw, because I'm following Gary on his Facebook, and I saw his videos, lesson one about tongue circles, I was like, tongue circles? What is that? So I started looking it up, and I came across another video interview he did with somebody else who said, "Oh, I only work with my clients. I always tell my clients about the tongue circles and how to do it, and that they have to do them." And I was like, "Oh, this is very important." And definitely, when Gary talks about it, it is important. And so I asked him to come on today to explain to us what it was. I haven't done my homework the way I was expecting it to do because I had a little cat issue with my eye, and my eye got injured. And I can still see. It doesn't look too good. It looks bloodshot and half open, but I can see, and that's all that counts. But I couldn't for a while. It's still a little bit blurry. And but we'll get into the tongue circles later. Gary was talking about a few things, how everything works in the body with the heart, the blood, the lymph, and the earth, the birds. We were just talking. We had a few minutes before we opened up, and we were talking about. He was talking about the birds and the trees and Gary, you weren't finished yet, so I think you need to tell this again because I thought it was so beautiful. And this is the kind of things that we need to learn in our life, to look at things differently. Because isn't it that when you hear the birds chirping and singing, that you kind of take it for granted? You don't stop and really listen, and especially early in the morning. And I would like, if it's still all that quiet, people are not really up, the birds start waking up, and it's the most beautiful time of the day when the sun is coming up. And Gary, I'll let you talk.
Okay, well, thank you, and I hope your eye gets better soon. And I wish Sarah a happy time with her husband, but she couldn't be here today. She will be missed. Uh, and I appreciate this platform to talk on. So we will just a minute. So we will get into that now. So when we have plants, the birds chirping, what scientists found out is that there's little holes that open in the leaves of the plants, and that's how the oxygen gets into the plant. But it happens because the birds are chirping. It like wakes the plant up. Now, I have no actual video or proof of that, but nature, we're all one energy, and we flow. And when we get stagnant, we suffer. And it doesn't matter if you're a plant or what it is, right? So that's the beautiful part of what we are doing. Every living thing is made of cells, and they may need different quantities of, but they all need the same thing: proper nutrition, hydration, oxygen, grounding to the earth, movement, rest, and a story that is so beautiful and infinitely powerful that dis-ease can no longer live in the body. Gary Brecker is given the credit for saying that the presence of oxygen is the absence of disease in the body. That's why it's so important for us to learn to breathe. Our whole lymphatic side of our body, which we never hear from in our doctors, is manual. And the lungs are the pump. And our first breath is in, and it turns on our electrical system. And without that first breath, we can't be here. And the last breath is out. And that's when our energy goes back to source and the body stays here. That's all of this stuff is very simple. And we overcomplicate it because that's what we've been programmed to do. So proper hydration, nutrition, oxygen, movement, rest, grounding to the earth, and changing our story from impossible to infinitely possible. If we learn to do that, our whole health, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, will balance itself out. And our body will regain, regenerate back to a healthy state. That's how important that it is, just to learn to breathe, to learn to clear the lungs. The lungs, the toxins in the air are heavier once they get in the lungs than the air itself. And if we're shallow breathers, they're settling in the bottom of the lungs. Well, that's when most of your blood oxygen transfer takes place. So we do a thing called the lion's breath, which opens the throat. And when we exhale, we're exhaling those toxins out. And this is something that most people don't talk about. If you're breathing properly, 70% of your toxins leave your body through your breath. But we have to breathe properly to make that happen. Our lungs are closer to our back than our front. So people who sit and watch television and they're in their chair and they're relaxed and they're half asleep, they're shallow breathing because the back and the body are not expanding properly. Because the lungs do not breathe, they're just a sac. And what breathes is the ability for the rib cage, chest, back, sides to expand, to let that air flow in and get it in deep into the lungs. Drop that diaphragm. When the diaphragm drops, the heart relaxes. And it puts pressure on all your organs and glands and intestinals and everything because it's squishing it. And when you exhale, the diaphragm goes back up. These relax, so they're being massaged, just like the heart. When it goes back up, it's helping your heart pump blood. So it's taking a lot of pressure and stress off in the heart. These are the things that are so simple. They just never get talked about. And I have seen so many miraculous things with people that have been carried in from a hospice bed and in 5 classes kicked out of hospice. And I have pictures of this. By the 7th class, they were driving themselves back and forth. And in 6 weeks, they passed their 3-wheel motorcycle permit test. They did not take the permit. They just wanted to know if they could pass it. And this woman was 72 or 4, I believe. But they carried her in from hospice bed. And she had been hemorrhaging from her lungs for 14 years. This finger right here was collapsed on the palm of her hand. I have pictures of her. She came in, and I don't know how long she'd been coming to class, but that finger had popped up because it's electrical. Muscles will not move without energy. So when we have, let's do it this way. The body is a 6-pack of batteries, right? They're all stacked on top of each other. So it's the ankles, the knees, the hips, right? The shoulder, the elbows, and the wrist. And if these get weak, we can't move this. There's lack of energy flowing down here because muscles don't move on their own. They have to have energy. And when you learn how to breathe and you learn how to send energy anywhere in the body will regenerate that. but it's done through your breath because the breath is electrical. It's what turns it on. And when, this drives me crazy when somebody's in the hospital and they get one of those, I don't know if it's you blow in it or suck on it, but there are balls that go up in the air. And every day you get to see that get weaker. And they're going, keep practicing, keep practicing. They're not really teaching them how to breathe or how to clear their lungs. And as you see yourself get weaker, that's your story. It gets weaker and weaker and weaker. These are the things we have to avoid. We are infinite beings in an infinite universe with infinite potential in a world of abundance, taught self-doubt, fear, and scarcity. We are none of those things. We are beings like a tuning fork, right? But the tuning fork is manual. And as the manual side of the body is healed or is empowered, all of a sudden the electrical part, your heart, starts to find its balance, its rhythm. And that's connected to your tongue, which is where tongue circles come in. As the heart is developed in the womb, the whole esophagus right up through to the tongue comes right out of the heart. It's all developed at the same time. And under your tongue, there are two direct lines right to the heart. That's why when you have nitro, I call it nitroglycerin, I think that is the actual name of it, you put it under your tongue and it goes right to your heart. So as we're eating certain foods, those tubes just don't open because of nitro. They're open. So as we're eating things, we're affecting our electrical impulse to our heart. But through breath, we can strengthen that. If you have a weakness, when you breathe, energy flows or attention goes. So you breathe in through your nose, a nice belly breath, and you focus on your elbow, the energy flows to the elbow. And since you're the commander in chief of your body, you tell it to heal. And if you don't tell it to heal, it can't heal because you're not paying attention to it. This is one of the big issues is when we have a weak joint, right? There's no blood or lymph flowing to it. And if there's no blood or lymph flowing to it, those cells are literally getting into the fascia here right now because your tongue is connected to the fascia throughout your whole body. In your cartilage, your tendons, that's fascia. So if you get bone on bone somewhere, that's because the fascia is in trouble and it's dying of dehydration, suffocation, and hydration, oxygen, and nutrition. It's nutritionally dying, starving to death. So for a lot of people with bad knees that come to class, we have them sit up on a table where they can dangle their legs. And they just move them around like this. And that opens that joint and that lets the blood and lymph flow in there so they can feed those cells and help regenerate that. Is it going to happen in one time? It's going to take time. And you need fruits, berries, melons, good vegetables, raw foods, ripened by the sun. Everything that we eat that's ripened by the sun, that's the energy of the day. And all that fluid in there is in a sterilized container that was grounded to the earth. And when we consume it, it updates our whole biological field. All the enzymes and electrolytes and everything go in. They're the energy of the day, and they're updating our whole system. So that's how important it is to understand that there's a methylation system in our digestive system. So let's say we eat an orange or we have a lemon drink or whatever it is, right? That's the raw material. Methylation transforms that into enzymes, electrolytes, vitamins, everything that the body needs, and it sends it out. Well, if that methylation process is upside down, which is what's happening a lot with COVID or the jab or whatever's causing it, right? A bad diet. There are things we can do to flip that back over so that the body is actually absorbing what it needs. And that's why the fascia is so important. It's our body. If we took everything out of our body and it could stand here by itself without a skeletal structure or whatever, the shape of your body is the shape of your fascia because it goes through everything in the body. It's in the muscles, it's around the muscles, it's like a shield, and it's really tough, strong. But when it gets injured, it can be scarred. And when it's scarred, it takes live fruits, berries, melons, vegetables, live liquids, smoothies that go in, and there's less digestion. So if we eat, I usually use Christmas or Thanksgiving as an example. We eat a large meal, 60% of our available energy is going to digest that food. We're forcing the body to do that. Now, if your body's only producing 70 or 80% of its potential, and you want to go do something, the body won't let you do it. It will put you to sleep. And that's where the word food coma comes from. Or if you go to a restaurant or a bar or something and you see people drinking and they're falling asleep, well, you're forcing the body, that's sugar, like man-made sugar, processed sugar. And your body, you're forcing your body to deal with that poison, basically. And they're starting to fall asleep because they can't even sit still and drink alcohol or have food and drink alcohol at the same time and do their daily functions. So as you learn to breathe and get that lymphatic system moving, and your story is every bite of fruit I take, or every salad I eat, or every sip of the Master Cleanse, or whatever your favorite thing is that's alive, my body's getting stronger. My lymphatic system's getting cleaner. My lungs are able to breathe deeper. My mind is clearer. Instead of, oh, I have brain fog. Oh, my joints hurt. My muscles ache. This is all fascia and it's lack of movement. Because the fascia is around everything. People have headaches. Like, your brain cannot feel anything. That's why when they do brain surgery, you're awake. Matter of fact, I watched a surgery the other day, and the woman said, I need to get up. And the nurse came over, the assistant came over and said, no, we're still doing brain surgery. Now, they don't give them anything for that. Maybe a little topical so they can get through the skin. But that there's a layer, like a cellophane wrapper around your brain called a dura, D-U-R-A, I believe it is. And there's two things that it hates: expansion and contraction. And they hurt like the dickens. That's where your headaches are. Muscle tension, pressing on the plates in your head, pulling down, and it's affecting that dura. So doing the tongue circles, which is releasing the tension in the jaw, the chest, the back, shoulders, okay? That is freeing that up. It's getting rid of all that stress and all that tension. And we're so used to it, we don't even know that we're actually having it. We're carrying so much tension in our body. So when we do these tongue circles, which we'll be doing here in a few minutes, we put our tongue outside our teeth at the top, but under the lip. So it would be like this. Okay. And then we circle around. And one of the things that we want to achieve is to put, and you might want to stand in front of a mirror or something, or you might be able to feel it, but be aware of it, because most of our health is lack of our dis-ease is because we're not aware. We're aware of the pain. We're aware of the frustration, the agony. We're unaware of what's causing it and what's creating it. It's all electrical and lack of movement with the lymph. So we put our finger on our chin, and we don't want our chin, we don't want our chin to go sideways like this. Because a lot of times when we move our tongue, our head will move back and forth. Like when we go up, the head can go back. When we swing down around, the head can go forward. It can go side to side. It can do this. We want it straight. Like that. And the speed is up to you, but the slower you go, the better. The more you're going to be able to stretch those muscles, that fascia. So we should probably do that right now. Do you have any questions for me, Toni?
No, not yet. I mean, I have the questions in front of me, what we were going to talk about. It's like how we do them. For that, you need to come much closer to the camera because I couldn't see it. And yeah, go ahead.
So we want to put our finger right here, and we want our head to stay still, and we put our tongue up and over our teeth, the top, towards our nose like this. And we just go around and try to hold our head and our jaw still. What happens is we unknowingly, or we have so much tension in our jaw or in our neck, when we swing our tongue, it can actually move our head around and back and forth. And if you can't do 25, we do 25 to one direction, 25 the other direction. If you can't do 25, and there's a lot of people that can't, do 5 or 10, and then go in the other direction. And over time, all that tension will release, and you'll be able to do the full amount. 25 to the left, 25 to the right. So am I close enough to the camera now?
Not really.
Okay, how's this?
That's better.
Okay. So we're going to take our tongue, put it in front of our top teeth, under our lip. And I can't count during this, so you're on your own, but go as slow as you can. And the slower you go, the more stretch you will get in the fascia. Okay, so here we go.
You make it look so easy.
Okay, that's 25 one direction, and breathing in and out through your nose. Don't stop breathing.
Now, what do you mean by one direction? Because it looks to me like it's just going from one side to the other side.
Yeah, one direction. I'm going in a circle this way.
Okay. Okay, and then you, okay, got it.
Okay, now we're going to do 25 in the other direction. All right, but keep breathing through your nose. All right. And some people are going to find going in one direction much harder than going in the other direction.
Well, I can tell you, I find it very difficult both, and maybe that is because I kind of have a jaw lock after what is it, a dental procedure many years ago that kind of went wrong. So that means that I can barely separate my teeth. So it's yeah, and it's kind of stuck.
Okay. So we do the best we can.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we do the best we can. If you can only do 5, do 5, and then maybe an hour or two later, do another 5 in each direction.
I can feel all the muscles.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, I've had people they did 25 in one direction. They were like, "Oh yeah, I'm done."
Yeah.
So if that's your case, not you personally, I'm talking about the the all of us. If we can't do 25 in one direction, do five, do 10, do whatever, but you want to be able to feel it, okay? And what's happening is we pick up stressors during the day. So if we do this every day, then it will help release those. Like I said, we get so used to having stress in our body that we don't even we don't even really feel it anymore. But when you start doing these tongue circles, you'll feel it because it's releasing all that, and that's fascia. A lot of our pain is fascia. Fascia is a layer, and then as that's real dense, and then it has a liquid layer under it, and everything runs through that liquid. And when that liquid turns into like glue or thickness of honey, all of a sudden everything's dragging and it can't get through. That's what you're feeling in your neck. And it's loosening all that up so that it can flow. Because everything in the body is about flow. All right, so we're going to go in the other direction. We're going to do 25 or whatever you can do. Okay, that's 25. So I'm sure that you can feel it. Whoever, if you're doing this with us, I know you can feel it. I've been doing this is 100 for me today, and I'm teaching class tonight, so I'll be doing 150, which
So
is
you mentioned with releasing stress, so that means that releases all the stress that comes at you for today.
yes. Well, there may be more in there because you're just starting out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's got to work its way through, but it does chest, shoulders, back, behind your neck where a lot of headaches start. There's a little bump on the back of your skull. If you just tap that gently while you're breathing through your nose, it's like drinking a cup of coffee. It'll help to wake you up, stimulate. So the breath is really important. I want to do some lion's breath. So what we do with lion's breath is we breathe in through the nose, we smile, tip our head back. Okay. And then I'll say lion's breath, exhale. We stick our tongue all the way out, and that opens up the throat. And we go, in order to try to push your belly button through to your spine. Not possible, I know, but we want to get as much air out as possible from the bottom of the lungs. And that's what's doing that. And that will open that up, open up that and eliminate those toxins. So when we take a deep breath, it goes deeper into the lungs and there's more blood oxygen transfer taking place. Now, the other thing we do is we tap our body, and this wakens, it brings the electrical system to life, right? And we go right down our legs. I'll step back here and do this, and then I'll come up and do the lion's breath. So we and hold, and then we exhale, and we go down our legs, so kidney and liver, and we come up, and we can do our shoulders. We can do our face, our head. You got to be gentle on the face and head. Whatever it is for you that day, whatever you feel like doing, as long as you're slapping the body, like to do this, bring stem cells up to regenerate certain cells. Because if the body can degenerate, it can regenerate. That's what's missing from most of our medical stuff. I don't even believe in disease. I believe in dis-ease. And those are deficiencies in the body, which is why fruits, berries, melons, vegetables, work so well because they have the nutrients our body needs in us. And that methylation process, it helps to reverse that. There are other things that will do that, but that's for another video. So we're going to do 3 lion's breaths, okay? So we're going to breathe in through the nose, head back, smile, and hold. And then stick our tongue out. Okay, lion's breath, exhale, we stick our tongue out all the way. Here we go. Now in class, that's about where we stop. We stop here. And then inhale through the nose, head back, smile. Lion's breath, exhale. And how long you hold your breath when you tip your head back, that's up to you. You know, because there are people who can hold it for a long time. People can't hold it very long at all. All right. So last one, inhale through the nose, head back, smile. Lion's breath, exhale. Okay, now the lungs are clearer than they were. It depends how many toxins you have in the bottom and how often you do your lion's breaths. We do them every day. And we've done as many as 10 at one time. But when you're breathing is so powerful, you got to be careful. Okay. We don't do breath work in the water or driving a vehicle or a bicycle or anything. You should be in a safe place, especially if you're gonna do a thing called the Wim Hof breath, which is in through the mouth and it's all right. And do 3 rounds of 30. You want to be laying down for that, not even sitting, laying down. And there are other breaths that'll cause hyperventilation or what seems to be hyperventilation. Breath fire, where you blow out through the nose and the lungs will automatically refill. And you can try it if you want. It's very cool because most people don't understand that about their breath. And it comes back. And this is all affecting your fascia. It's oxygenating the blood, and that's going out and feeding the cells. And as you're moving, get rid of that stagnation, the blood and the lymph can get into areas that it couldn't get into before. And that's what's going to get rid of your pain. You know, things grow back. There are thyroids that have grown back because there was one cell left there. And what do cells do? They reproduce. So as it's getting the oxygen and nutrition and hydration, movement, rest, grounding to the earth, and a good story, it'll start to reproduce and it can grow a whole new thyroid. That's how powerful we are. You know, your liver, you can cut 80% of, whoops, wrong side, 80% of your liver off, and it will grow back. And the doctors will tell you that. There's many things in the body that will grow back, but they're lacking those things. We're eating dead foods. You can eat those, but we need a balance of live foods versus dead foods. And every body is a petri dish. And what makes this particular body thrive might make this one sick. So we have to be explorers, to be willing to step outside of the system and pay attention to people like Dr. Morse and Gary Brecker and some of the greats out there that are explaining these things to us so that we can share them with others to regenerate our body, because we're in a state of regeneration. If there's pain somewhere in the body, it's degeneration. And it's usually from lack of those 7 things. 7. So as we go through life, there are certain things that we need to keep an eye on, because the whole fascia is water and collagen. Okay, water and collagen. And as we get older, we're told that our collagen starts to dissipate, doesn't make it like it used to. Well, if you're not working the body like you're supposed to, then yes, your collagen will start to disappear. But this is one thing I can't stand about the American Medical Association is everything is based off an electric, right? And your eyesight starts to go. Well, how old are you now? Yep, right on time, 40, 45, whatever, right? And your eyesight starts to go. That's lack of hydration, nutrition, oxygen, movement. So as you learn to do these things, like the first time I did the cleanse, I wore double vision glasses from the time I was 6 years old. And by the seventh day, no more glasses. And that was in 2000. So it was 24 years ago. My eyesight came back. And when my diet gets bad, my eyes start to get bad because it's lymphatic fluid and it's acid, glaucoma, acid, pressure in the eye because acids create pressure so that things start to expand inside the eyeball. And we need to clean that out. We have the lymphatic system in there specifically to clean that. Like Dr. Morse is always saying, you cannot have a cell without the lymphatic system being there because every cell is a mini you. It consumes, it digests, and it eliminates. And it eliminates into the lymphatic channel so the lymphatic system can clean it. And if it can't clean it, the acids start to build around the cell and it creates mucus to try to protect the cell. And the next thing you know, you have a thing called malabsorption and the nutrition can't get in that cell. So by drinking these liquids and eating fruits, berries, melons, and vegetables, we're cleaning that system. Through breath, we're cleaning that system. Through movement, not exercise, through movement, we're cleaning that system. And it can't help but regenerate itself. Just like when you wasn't doing that, it was degenerating itself. So it's so important. And it just bugs me that, there's a whole side of the medical system. That's all they study is the lymphatic system. So that's the duality of the AMA is who is receiving the lymphatic information because our side is not. So they know, maybe our doctors don't know because they're not taught, just like they're not taught nutrition. So I'm going to show you another breath. Do you have any questions, Toni?
No, not yet. Keep going.
Okay. So I'm going to show you another breath. This one is very simple to do. And we're going to stand with our feet shoulder width apart, kind of in a thing called a horse stance where our back straight, our knees are bent forward. And take our hands and we come up. This is an inhale. And your breath should match your movement. The end of your inhale should be when your hands are pointed towards the sky. Okay? And then we turn them towards the earth and we exhale. And your breath should end, your exhale should end right as your hands get down here. And then we turn and we turn back down and we exhale. It's important to make a sound because that's the sound of the heart. Inside the heart, the word heart is ear because your heart is always listening. It's listening to what's going on around it. That's why you can be heartbroken or heartsick or like joy and happiness and being elated, ecstatic, right? These are all high oxygen levels. Laughter, high oxygen. Anger, being ticked off, suppressed, depression. Those are low oxygen events that are happening in the body. So, and you can tell, this is the reason we tip our head back and smile. This is joy and happiness and laughter. People that are depressed, they have their head down like this, and they can't take a full breath. And the autonomic nerve is running down through here into our gut, and the sympathetic side is fight or flight, and the parasympathetic is rest, digest, and heal, and breath is connected to the sympathetic side. So people that are happy with their head up, shoulders back, walking down the street are taking full breaths. People with their head down, who are depressed, suppressed, they have anxiety, they're walking like this, and the lymphatic system comes down through, and it's being pinched off here at the collarbone, under the ribs, so it will put you into fight or flight. Whereas if you stand up and this electrical charge is able to run down through, this is another reason we need to rub our belly 10, 15, maybe 20 minutes a day. This turns on the parasympathetic, the rest, digest, and heal. Breathing through the nose turns on the parasympathetic, rest, digest, and heal. Fear is sympathetic, because it shuts off your ability to think. Fear does. And it shuts off your digestive system, because you don't need to digest or think. You need to either fight or get out of dodge. These are important things that we should understand, simple things about our body. The duality of the body is this side doesn't know this side exists, and this side doesn't know this side exists. We're split right down the middle like this. And when we cross, that's why there's a lot of movements like this or like this. We're actually working on the left and right brain communicating. People have dyslexia, the left and right brain are fighting each other. I know I have had dyslexia my whole life. I started to learn to read and write when I was 49. So things flip. If you hold your finger up and you close one eye and then close the other eye, open back and forth, your finger will jump back and forth. Well, that's what's happening in the brain of a lot of people that are dyslexic, and things jump around and they can't focus. Well, as you're doing these movements, you're crossing that barrier and you're forcing the left and right brain to work together. And it will help smooth out a lot of the brain's ability to communicate. See, a lot of people have a dominant side, so the other one doesn't come into play much. People that are, can't remember the word right now, but they can, like, I can shoot a pistol with either hand. I can shoot a rifle either way. That's only because of the military. I don't own weapons. I had my share of that while I was in the military. But it's a thing that some of us are born with, and people that are good at sports usually are dyslexic because they don't really have a dominant side. But their ability to read or their ability to do certain things is compromised because the left and right brain are not communicating with each other. So we do this in class a lot too, where we're crossing the barrier and helping the brain find its, I guess it's mojo, I guess you'd say, its ability to think without interfering with itself.
Gary, when you did your last breathing exercise, is that through the mouth in, out to the nose? How do we do that?
Okay, so we're going to breathe in through the nose, I'll add a little bit to that too. When you get up here, okay, you go up on your toes and then you come down. For people that can't get up on their toes, we come up and we exhale through the mouth, okay? And if you can't, you just do this because you want that vibration coming up through. It'll strengthen the bones. It'll help shake out any stagnation down here in the bottom. It's very good for you to just shake. All right.
Now, I work with people who have MS and are in a wheelchair
Yes.
as a sitting exercise. How would you do that?
I just happen to have a chair here. So we could do the lion's breaths, sitting. All right. And so let's do one. Lion's breath, exhale. And you just go to the knees. If they can bend over, you go deeper. Okay. Because we had someone in the class with MS that was frozen like this, couldn't pick her head up. And she was, I can't remember how long it took. It was a while. She's able to stand without any assistance for 10 minutes. And she could sing a song. She could pick her head up. I have video of all that stuff. I mean, it was mind blowing. It was amazing to watch that happen, right? But it's live liquids, it's fruits, it's berries, it's melons, it's movement, it's breath. That's what wakes us up. It's what gave us life. Like I said, the first breath is in, turns the body on. Last one is out, the body turns off, energy goes back to source, and the body stays here. That's how important our breath is. And you might go 2 or 3 minutes without breath and pass, but you can go days without water. You can go many days without food. Breath is the key. It's the key to your health. It's the key to getting that lymphatic system flowing, to get it moving. Okay. So if we're going to do, were you asking me about this breath?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
It's
So that's what we do.
in through the nose, out through the mouth.
Yes. Yes. So
Okay.
inhale.
Yeah.
And then put your hands down, exhale. This is another great exercise. We had 12 energy meridians in the body. Now, this is all affecting fascia. So 12 energy meridians, 6 in the hands, 6 in the feet. And what we do is we do one, and we're stamping our feet at the same time. The old Queen song, "We Will Rock You." We will rock you. Imagine 20,000 people doing that, and they're turning on their electrical system, and magnetically it spreads through the crowd, and all of a sudden the crowd is going nuts. So these guys knew a lot more than what they were letting on. But we do 9. We go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then we go to the elbow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9. And the other one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9. And the hand behind the head. And we go right under the arm. 1, 2, 3, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And we do 3 rounds of that. It's really important because we're exciting the electrical system, we're breathing, and we're working on the lymph nodes. For people that have a hard time breathing through their nose, I'll just show you this real quick. And again, this is all fascia. This is all ability to move, because the fascia is around everything in the body, every cell. So breathe in through your nose. and then just exhale. And what we're going to do is we're going to breathing in through our nose, out through our mouth, whichever way you want to do it, in through the nose, out through the nose. And we're going to start right here, and we're just going to slap the inside of the arm crossed. And now breathe through your nose. And your sinuses should be open. This is all electrical. And we're opening the electrical channels to the sinuses.
Wow. I have never heard that. Thank you.
Yes. So if we rub along our jawline right here, just pinch the under the jaw and up on top of it. This releases collagen in the body.
Oh,
And
okay.
right here beside the nose, we put our knuckles there and we inhale through the nose. And then exhale through the mouth. That produces collagen, but it also opens your sinus pathways. So, I mean, there's so many things about the body that we haven't been taught. It's it's mind-blowing. Right here in the hand, right in that joint right there. This is liver, but it also get rid of headaches. And you can do both sides. And you breathe in and out through the nose. Or you can breathe in through the nose, out through the mouth.
And what exactly is that point on the hand?
It's right where the thumb and the index finger, you can feel it. This is an acupuncture point. So this is acupressure. And that runs right up through and it goes right up into the head. And it goes right into the liver also. So all you do is press that. Okay. Another thing you can do if you have migraine headaches, and it's not going to happen the first time you do it, it's going to take a minute. You take a quart of water and you dump some Celtic or Himalayan salt, pink Himalayan salt in it. And it can be thick on the bottom, doesn't matter. And then you let it settle so the salt's on the bottom and it looks clear, but that's about 26% salt in that water. You take a gallon of clean water over here and you take 2 tablespoons and you put it in there and you drink a glass like in the morning, maybe a glass at night, and all that pressure in your head, what seems like it's in your head, will go away. It's not going to happen overnight, though. It could take 2 or 3 weeks. But people that suffer from migraines and things like that, it's usually a sodium issue. So that's one thing that you can do. But you have to feel your body. When you drink anything or you eat anything, feel your reaction of your body. If it doesn't feel good, stop eating it. And this is another thing. So when we're eating and we call it an allergic reaction, but it affects you on Monday and you try it Wednesday and it doesn't affect you. And Friday it does. It's not an allergy. It's a deficiency. And it goes back to that methylation and what you're processing. Every dis-ease in the body is a deficiency. So all we have to do is find out what that deficiency is and replace it. And that's why fruits, berries, melons, and vegetables work so well, because they are full of hydration and vitamins and minerals and enzymes and electrolytes, and it's the energy of the day. So it's updating our whole system. Just like the trees with the sun, they're updating their whole system every day. The sun communicates with the earth communicates with the sun. Well, we've forgotten how to communicate. But breath is the key. Then the hydration, then the nutrition, the rest. Nobody is resting. We're all taught to go give 110%, right? Well, when's relaxation come in? Because when we go on vacation, we play harder than we do it. Some people have to go back to work to rest. So we're not really resting. And it's okay to take a nap. It's okay to feel good. It's okay to be stress-free. It's okay to breathe. It's safe to breathe. Some people are so fearful that they can't take a full breath. And that is a major issue in the long run because you're depleting your cells of oxygen. So any questions?
No, I don't. I think I would like to go over all the questions that we had about the tongue circles. I think you answered them all. The one was, how do we do them? That was check. You answered that. The purpose they do, what purpose do they serve? Let's get over that one again.
Okay. So as we're doing these tongue circles, 25 in one direction, 25 in the other, we're moving the fascia. We're moving the muscles. And we are eliminating stress in the jaw, in the back of the head, shoulders, chest, upper back. And we can definitely feel it. When we start doing these tongue circles, things get tired. Let's just call it tired. Fatigued. Maybe that's a better word. This area gets fatigued because the stress is tightening the muscles. And by turning our tongue around inside, we're stretching them back out and we're releasing that tension. And you can do these, you could do 25 times a day if you want to. But again, that goes back to that 110% and no rest. So we have to give our body time to rest between. Like
So
when we do our,
yeah, you would say we do them once a day.
yeah, that's a good thing, is once a day.
And it is important to do them every day.
Yes. Yes, you should do them every day because we pick up stresses. Matter of fact, it might be good to do 10 or 15 in the morning and 10 or 15 at night, or
That was my next
25 in yeah,
that was my next question.
yeah. And anytime you feel stress, it's a good idea to do it if you have a meeting you need to go to,
Oh, okay.
and do 25. 25 one direction, 25 in the other. If you can do that. If you can't, do 5 and 5, but it's helping to relax this whole area, get the tension out of the jaw. Like I said, that stress, we can't even feel it because it's been there so long. Once you start doing these tongue circles, trust me, you'll find out where they are. And then it's just a matter of letting it go and releasing it.
Now you have
By
mentioned
doing,
your classes. Is that something that you do online?
uh, I don't film my classes. A lot of people
Okay.
don't. Matter of fact, some people, when I post the pictures of the class, we have a person in there right now that doesn't want to be in the pictures, which I'm fine with, because I want them to feel comfortable there. And maybe over time, that'll happen. Like we have 2 Hug Tuesday and 3 Hug Thursday. Well, a lot of people don't like to hug. So we give them space, but we're all hugging, and eventually they start. And eventually they like it, because a lot of times people think that hugs are too intimate or they're sexual or whatever it is. And that's not what this class is about at all. We're just there to have a good time, to laugh, to move, to breathe. And then at the end of the class, we hug and everybody goes home. There's no intention other than, I love you, you're a friend, thank you for coming, and have a great night.
It's interesting what you mentioned about hugging. For
Mm-hmm.
me, being in the Netherlands, to be honest, there was not much hugging. And I came to the United States, the first one in 81, and
Mm-hmm.
people were always hugging, complete strangers, and really with a loving feeling. So
Mm-hmm.
I got used to it, and that is what I liked so much about Americans. And it really, it's so different from the Netherlands. And that's, I've been here now for more than 20 years, but I've been
Hmm.
traveling here since 81 for months at a time. I rode a motorcycle, a Harley all over the country and met many beautiful, beautiful people. And I received
Hmm.
so much love. So
Hmm.
I stayed.
Yeah, it's even the government says you're supposed to have 7 hugs a day to maintain your health.
Oh,
So we're in the group, we're huggers, and there's nothing other than hugs, and love and sharing, because when you hug somebody, you're sharing energy. So we can hug 7 times if they want to. It's because there are people in there that they never get hugged out in the, I guess you'd call it the real world, whatever it is, the illusion of the world, right? So you can come to a place where it's safe to hug somebody after you've done your breath and your movement, and you're resting, and it's well, we do it for the hello and we do it for the goodbye too.
mhm.
And it really shifts, like you had a shift because you found it beneficial to you to hug people.
Oh, absolutely. It was
Yeah.
like I felt like hugging. I have to admit, I never really felt at home. I mean, I was born and raised there. But when I came home, when I came to the United States in 81, and at that time I was on my motorcycle in the Black Hills in South Dakota, magical, magical place there. And I had this big smile on my face, and I was like, I'm home. I'm actually home. And I
Yeah.
never had that feeling, where I grew up.
Yeah,
Strange.
it's what's funny too is because motorcycles have such a bad rap, uh, as far as like the people that ride motorcycles. They're the biggest huggers in the world,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
They,
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, and there's no tension or intention other
yeah.
than to hug and to be a kind human being. I mean, it's funny because I've ridden Harleys my whole life, and I don't have one right now, and I probably won't have one again. But that doesn't mean I won't. Uh, but yeah, they're just, I don't know, they're just
Some
kind people. Do you
someday
go to
when
the
you
bike
are in
rallies?
Yeah, someday when you are in Florida, you have to come visit. I have a Harley waiting for you.
All right, I love that. Yeah, I've built custom motorcycles and street rods, and but now this is the work I do. I was a tank mechanic in the military, and then I was a medic. One's mechanical and the other one's biological, but they all have the same thing. The fuel pump feeds it. Well, we eat and we have a fuel pump that feeds our body, and without air the engine can't run. Well, without air we can't run. And it has oil and water, and we have oil and water. So it's the same thing. And without flow, that motor will not run. And without flow, our body will not run. So the correlation between the two, I mean, it is an exact copy of us. It's just that it's mechanical. So
Yeah.
once you understand maintenance, and we're maintaining our body through our breath, through the electrical charge created by our breath, by deep breathing and moving that fascia.
Yeah, we take everything with our body way too much for granted, especially when you are young, you feel like you live forever anyway. You don't need to do anything different.
Right,
I
right.
knew as a teenager, my diet, I did not want it to be the diet that I grew up with. So at a young
Yeah,
age,
yeah.
I consider, and at my age now, I consider it a young age. But I started with a macrobiotic diet because that was the thing back then,
Hmm.
late 60s, 70s. and moved on to different diets to finally end up with what we're doing now. And it's
Yeah.
beautiful how we are actually guided in the direction that we are living now, and that we're working with other people and yeah, guiding. I see myself as a tour guide. I was a tour guide with because I had a travel business, a motorcycle travel business, but now it's like a
Oh,
tour
wow.
guide on someone's health. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's been a pleasure again. I think we do have all the questions that we came up with. Everything is answered, and if people have questions, they know how to find me. For people who want to follow Gary on about the tongue circles and other stuff, I in the description is a link to his Facebook page. And
Thank you.
yeah, that is, if you need to reach him, that is the place to go, I think. Anything
Yeah,
else you want to add,
I
Gary, before we close?
I've been doing 14 days in a row. Like I
Yes.
just did 14 days of cold plunges, and I'm talking while I'm in the cold about the benefits and the things that happen and how it changes your breath. And I just did 14 days of tongue circles, and I'm going to be starting another one probably tomorrow. And I don't know what it's going to be yet, but it'll always be 14 days because I feel like that's the time for us to really understand and to maybe make it a habit that will go for the rest of our life, because it's all relative, it's all related, and it's all breath, circulation, it's all flow. And wherever we get stagnant, we start to have an issue. And stagnation is the body's inability to slip and slide through different tissue. That's why we get pain. The nerves are stuck and they can't slide the way they're supposed to, so it causes pain. It's pressure on that, around that nerve, and it can't move. And if it can't move, or if it moves slowly, there's not as much blood, lymph, and oxygen getting in there. So,
I had one question. I wrote it down. I should have asked it sooner, but it had to do with the fight and flight mode is hyperventilation. I have been in a situation once when I started to hyperventilate really bad. Now,
mhm.
what exactly is your body doing then? It happened when I was in Paris at the Bruce Springsteen concert. Everybody was
Wow.
relaxed and they were sitting down, and I was walking up to the front, and people thought that he was coming on a podium. Everyone stood up and was moving, and I felt like I was being pressured to death. And I started hyperventilating. They had to lift me out of the group because I thought I was dying. What
Hmm.
happens then in the body? Why is the body doing that?
So that's the duality of hyperventilation. When you hyperventilate in fear, the sympathetic nerve comes on, right? And it takes away your breath because you're not in control. But when you are doing like the Wim Hof breath, if you hyperventilate, you're in control because all you have to do is stop breathing and it'll go away. In your situation, you couldn't stop it because you were in panic state. So if you're breathing like the Wim Hof style, and even if you did 3 times, right? Uh, it's the intensity that you breathe at that causes that. So all you have to do is slow your breath down, and the hyperventilation will go away. Or you stop and you just lay there and you rest. See, but when you're in a situation in a crowd where you feel like you're being crushed, like there's no way out, you can't control that. And so that's kind of what happened. And that's an electrical response. One is the sympathetic side and the one you control is the parasympathetic side. And the more you learn to control on the parasympathetic side through breathing and you go into hyperventilation, the less that you were in, like that one, the less that will bother you because you'll be able to control it. You're out of control on the sympathetic side and you're in control on the parasympathetic side. So when we learn how to breathe properly, we are in control of our emotions. Every emotion is attached to a breath. Every breath is attached to an emotion. The emotion goes in through the breath and it comes out through the breath. Maybe we can do that in another video. We can talk about that transition. Okay, the breath controls everything in the body. The fear, the panic, the depression. Okay, depression lives in the lungs, and the head goes down, and the posture changes, and you start pinching off the parasympathetic nerve, and it can't flow properly, which puts you further into fight or flight, into the sympathetic side. So learning to control your breath is learning to control your emotion. And once you control your emotion, you're in charge of everything.
Well,
I mean, it's pretty crazy.
What I did learn was to not get in situations like that again.
Yeah. See, but once you learn to control your breath, situations like that won't bother you because you'll be able to control it.
Okay.
I'm safe because you didn't feel safe.
No.
I would say.
No.
Yeah. See, and because everybody was moving around, right? It changed your electric field, your aura. And there was a frequency in there that caused that panic. And when you learn to control that frequency, that can't be triggered anymore. That frequency has been neutralized. So it doesn't work like that anymore.
Yeah, it was, everybody was pushing so hard you couldn't even take a breath.
Yes. See,
yeah, and that is what I found in Europe. I've been to many concerts, London, Germany. There's always aggression, and I did not experience that with concerts here in the United States. But that is neither here nor there, so that's not really important. But
yeah, it is actually, because if you go to a football game, I guess, which is soccer over there, I mean, they're throwing darts back and forth across the stadium, and there's fights and there's all this stuff. That doesn't really happen over here. We're a little more reserved, I guess the word is.
Well, you could call people in the Netherlands reserved, but I don't know what it is.
Well, that's true. And I'm thinking of like England, where they have the soccer games, and I mean, they are constantly pushing and fighting, and it's like,
Oh yeah, well, you see that with soccer games in the Netherlands are really, really, really bad. So, yeah, it's kind of crazy. In a way, it seems that there is more aggression. I felt more safer here in the United States. Always did, but all my travels, even by myself, and I met so many amazing people. So I absolutely loved it. Okay, we are at 1:15. I don't know. Did you want to say something? Sorry.
No,
Okay,
I was good.
Yeah, and I was thinking about, other topics that we could discuss. There is so much depression going on with people, and I think that is something that we need to talk about at another podcast. But because I feel that everyone that I talk to is going through that.
Oh, it's incredible. I mean, the homeless around the world is like at an all-time high, and people feel hopeless, even though they're infinite beings, because our energy has been lowered down. Like, turn off the media. We carry these images in our head, and we walk outside here. There's people having backyard barbecues, walking their dog, they're walking up and down the river, but we carry all these weird images in our head, and it's affecting our breath, and it's affecting our health, because people are scared. And then when you walk outside, there's nothing going on, but you can't see it. Can't see the forest for the trees, right?
Right. Yeah.
It's kind of that. It's kind of that. So yeah, this is,
Well, yeah, we'll keep that for the next time. Again,
yeah,
Gary, thank you so much for being here. I love you. It's like you're great.
yep.
Thank you.
And
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 for everyone who listened to us, thanks for being here. And I would say till the next time. I have no idea what it's going to be next week. That always it usually comes to me on a Monday, and it's like, oh my gosh, we have to talk about this. And so, okay. So again, thank you. Till the next time, and have an absolutely beautiful day. So.
too.
Talk
Thank
to
you. And I
everyone. Bye
hope
bye.
you're